call to order the Chisholm City Council meeting January 8th, 2025. Susan, would you please take roll call?
Yes. Councillor Hollowell?
Present.
Councillor Fountain?
Here.
Councillor Baki?
Here.
Councillor Varga?
Here.
Councillor Halverson?
Present.
Mayor Lamb?
Here. Hey, Council, you have a couple additions in front of you here. Apologize for this, so I'm going to go slow. We do have one, which is going to fall under Mandy, the first one for the conditional use permit that went to the board on Monday. If you want to just throw that in your packet on page 3 or ahead of it. Under Mr. Johnson, Jim, we have to flip-flop his. We need to do the change order first and then do the pay application second. So we're going to change those around. Easy enough. And then we have 2 for, we're going to add Stephanie. So she will be item E. The first thing under her will be the purchase of property at 605 3rd Street Southwest. That will find its place just after page 60 in your packet. And then after that will be a soccer update for an action item. And that will follow that. And then we will change my item to G.
And I will take that.
And Stephanie's going to take Devin's items this evening. So with those changes, I'd look for a motion and support to adopt the agenda.
Make a motion.
Thank you, Jed.
Support.
Thank you, Travis. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Pledge allegiance if you would.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Any public participation there?
None.
Okay. Move on to council reports. We'll start with Councillor Hollowell this evening.
Good evening. Happy New Year, everyone. I attended an EDA meeting today, and we have a community garden meeting coming up on January 20th at 5:30 p.m. at the Baptist Church. All welcome to attend.
So, thank you, Councillor. Councillor Fulton, good evening.
Good evening. I have no formal report except for, a Happy New Year. So Happy New Year, everybody. That was a good one.
Councillor Baki, good evening.
Good evening. Happy New Year. I just have a couple things. We have a couple of Chisholm legends, I'll call them, that are going in different directions. I'll start off with the Community Foundation. Mary Jo Neubauer is retiring. This is her final month with us, and we did hire a replacement who I hope, maybe Amanda, remind me if we can maybe have her get introduced here. We can bring that up at our next meeting. But we did hire a replacement. Obviously, there is no replacing Mary Jo. She's been here for a long time. Her services to the city are second to none. So just want to give her a shout out and happy retirement to Mary Jo. And then I'm also on the chamber board, and Shannon Chisholm Roach has taken on a new role. And so again, Shannon has done so much in her role as the chamber director. Just want to say thank you to her. I wish her the best. And happy to say that an offer has been made to a candidate for her position. We are very excited about that person. Everything's not finalized yet, but as soon as it is, I will be happy to let you all know who that new person is. But we're excited. We know there's big shoes to fill on both sides, the Community Foundation and the Chamber. But one last note for Shannon. She's been involved in so much. If you would like to wish her well and wish her off well, there is a gathering for Shannon on January 13th from 4 to 7 at Tom and Jerry's.
Travis, 2 people who've done a lot for the community. So, Councillor Varda, welcome back. Good evening.
Thank you. Happy New Year. I will attend my first meeting tonight at the fire department.
Excellent. So we speed this one up.
Yeah.
Councillor Halverson, good evening.
Good evening. Welcome, Jim.
Thank you.
First of all, Secondly, I attended the park board meeting Monday night, and that was Rich Neubauer's last park board meeting. And congratulations on his retirement, and I hope they will have a great retirement. And Rich did a lot for this city through the park board. So I wish him well. That's all I have.
Excellent. Yeah, I was able to catch him on his way in. And yeah, another person. Myself, I have no report. Happy New Year, everybody. We'll move along. Our ambulance director tonight, I believe, is out on a training shift, working with one of our new medics. So I believe Councillor Oliva, congratulations. I'm not sure if that came up before. And then Morgan Hansen, also the newest paramedic in town. So appreciate you guys and your hard work. Interim fire chief is not here. Police chief.
I don't have a report, sir.
No report.
I gave it up last night.
Thank you, Vern. Building official, Ms. Galley.
Good evening, Mayor and Councils, and welcome back, Councilor Varda. I just wanted to give a short report of how the year end for 2024 ended up, and it was a big year for our department. So we ended up with 797 permits total. That's probably about 7 times as many permits as we get for 1 year. It was a very good year. So we ended up with $101,656 of fees that we brought in for the department. And the total value of all of the projects was $39,973,094. So we had a really big year. So I just wanted to share that news.
A lot of investment in the community. Thank you. Thank you, Mandy. City engineer, Mr. Folstead. Oh my goodness. Oh, I decided to try to skip right over. You want to try that one, Larry? I haven't seen you for a while. It feels like forever. Mr. Johnson, good evening. Oh, wow. Especially after that introduction. Why wouldn't you? Public Works. Larry, good evening.
Thank you, Mayor. Nothing against engineers either. Just a quick couple notes. There's no snow. It rained after Christmas. That's not supposed to happen. I know some of the streets are rough. We decided to leave the snow there and not put a huge amount of slush in front of your driveways. So when you come home from work, it's frozen at 7 o'clock and it rips the front of your car off. So I do get a couple calls a week that some of the streets are rough. There's not a lot we can do with them on destroying the streets and the equipment trying to do it. So the next warm up, hopefully we get a little bit of snow because it's winter. It's supposed to snow. It'll make it look nice again. And then we'll plow that and we'll get it all straightened out again. So we continue to work on that. You'll start to see things like we're working on projects. So the Christmas lights will come down earlier this year. It's a general rule. We keep them up until the Serbian Christmas, which was yesterday. So those Christmas lights on Lake Street will start to come down. So we'll change the season into the back to winter and then we'll wait for spring. And we're doing some unexpected maintenance on the water system, but we're operating normally. So just some of the things we're doing. It's kind of slow right now. So we're just catching up on projects and maintenance. So with that, welcome back, Councillor Varda. And if you have any other questions.
I have one question.
Please.
So have we looked into cleaning around the lake around Heritage Manor? The brush and stuff, because that lady, she came there like a month ago or something.
Yeah, so we are in that $90,000 stormwater that's not a permit, it's a grant. And in that, we are meeting with Kim. Her last name escapes me. She is our area hydrologist for the DNR. She's the one that makes the determination what we should and shouldn't do and what we can and can't do. Generally speaking, we'll get rid of the dead foliage and stuff like that because we want to keep that out of the lake anyway. But as far as taking down green trees and weeds and stuff like that, you really want some deterrent from that rainwater and stormwater just running into the lake so it filters it a little bit. Like you don't want your lawn leaves and stuff blowing into the lake. So we will do a little bit of clearing when we can, where we can, but we're still working through that. Yep.
Thank you, Larry.
Yep. Thank you.
City Parks, Trails, Rex, Ms. Bruska.
Good evening, Council, and welcome, Councillor Varda.
Thank you.
I want to, as well as Marty, say thank you to Rich Neubauer for the time that he spent on the board. He was definitely a mentor to me, and I'm going to miss him greatly. He was inspirational in many ways, and he has given so much to the community. In terms of Ride the Range, if you remember that marketing campaign that markets Cuyuna and Tioga and Redhead, Giants Ridge, all the way to Ely, there's a program called the Ambassador Program in that, and we just got a new ambassador. His name is Matthias Norenberg, and he's been doing some fantastic work already. His main task in that role is to create content for social media, but he's going to be joining us doing some programming too. So some fat bike rides and some snowshoeing. So that's really exciting. And then the skate rink is in very good condition. And I think we should have at least one of our candidates onboarded next week. I think the paperwork is a slow process, but we should get that skating rink open for the public here as soon as next week, I believe.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you, Bridget.
Thank you.
Thank you.
City Library Supervisor, Ms. Christensen, good evening.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Quick update from the library. February is right around the corner, and we have a pretty busy month. Monday the 3rd will be the start of our winter reading program, and that's a 6-week program open for all ages, teens, kids, and adults. The day after, on the 4th, we have an author visit with Minnesota author Carrie Griffith. The presentation is going to be focused on his latest book, The Gunflint Falling, Blowdown in the Boundary Waters, which tells the story of the devastating July 4th, 1999 story from the perspective of those who were on the ground during and after the event. So it's a 1-hour long program, and it's geared towards junior high students and adults. We're also going to be participating in Polar Bear Days, and we'll have some after-school activities every Wednesday for the whole month of February. So more details to come on that. And then I also just wanted to give us a quick update on the community mural. Our call to artists resulted in 33 submissions being received. And out of those 33, we interviewed 6 artists just this past week. And we're excited to share that the selection committee has chosen Kata Golden and Lena London as our artists for the new community mural that'll be coming this summer. Kata is a full-time large-scale mural-artist, and Lena is a designer and artist that specializes in branding and graphic design. And together, they have over 40 years of combined experience in large-scale art. So we're really looking forward to bringing them on board for this project. And as part of their submission, they actually have a community engagement piece where the community members of all ages will be an active part in actually the application of the mural. And so that really leans into kind of that interactive piece that's kind of been a vision for that space. And so we're excited to share more about that as we move forward with the process. So our next steps with that will be drafting up a contract, working with Attorney Lindsay, and then bringing that back to council for final approval. And welcome back, Councilman Varda. I think that's it.
Thank you, Katie.
Okay.
City Attorney, Mr. Lindsay.
Thank you, Mayor. I can give just one very brief update on the blight. So we do have the four formal complaints that were approved by the council have all been signed and they're out for service. We're trying to take advantage of a service by mail rule that hopefully will encourage some engagement with the folks that are receiving them, and will help the city save some money on service fees and things. So
excellent. Thank you, Brian. Devin is out. City Administrator, Scrava, good evening.
Good evening, everybody. I do not have a formal report. Happy New Year. Welcome back, Councilor Varda. We're looking forward to a busy year, finishing up some projects and starting some new ones. So thank you all for being here.
Thank you. All right, Council, we're moving on to the consent agenda, which consists of the list of bills, payroll, and overtime. We'll look for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Make the motion.
Thank you, Travis.
Support.
Thank you, Jed. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Unfinished business. we did not to beat a dead horse or anything, but I did talk about what, we talked about the copies and stuff like that and how they don't come out crystal clear. I did ask Susan that whenever we do make a big packet like this, it's very hard to make 6 individual ones, right? So she makes a master copy, goes through and makes copies of it. I did request that when she does find herself with maps, pictures, and graphs, to please just print those out, leave the copied ones inside the packet. She doesn't need to go through and place them at page 60 and 65 and 78. Just go ahead and throw them inside the packet so it's clear and we can make sure we find where they go as we go through them. And if that does not work, then we can just kind of reassess it at that time. New business, Mandy. Welcome back to the podium.
Good evening. This Monday, January 6th, the Planning Commission met to hear the conditional use permit petition for the Redhead Trail expansion. The commission passed the conditional use permit unanimously. What the expansion is going to include is going to be an asphalt paved pump track, a skills course, designated parking, updated amenities, including a bike wash, a drinking fountain, mining equipment features, and lighting. So the Planning Commission did pass it unanimously. I'm just asking for your support.
Perfect. And we did have some guests at the meeting.
We did. Yeah. We did. There wasn't any opposition. There was just some questions regarding some stockpiling that were answered. So.
Okay, Council.
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, April.
I'll second.
Thank you, Jed. Any further discussion?
Andy.
Yes.
What part of this is going to be blacktopped?
Bridget, do you have that?
What area?
Yeah.
At the trailhead, the dirt trailhead where the gazebo is, the section on the further south, south side, kind of in the middle, but there'll be a buffer around where the fencing is.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
All right, we have a motion second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. We'll come back to the redhead, Jim. Mr. Johnson.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. Welcome back, Jim, and Happy New Year, everyone. I apologize when we were putting the packet together. That was my fault until I looked this afternoon at the pay application and realized that payment for the change order number 1 was included in payment. So we felt we needed to take care of the change order first. As you're aware, the city is serving only as a fiscal agent on this project and is being administered by Whitseth and Associates along with the Citizens Committee for the Thomasoni Memorial Arch. So if you'll turn to page 7, basically the change order involves 2 things. The first one is the completion date extension from December 20th of 24 to Friday, June 13th of 2025, mainly because the arch itself, in terms of its schedule of being manufactured and delivered, goes into next spring, and there is no change in cost associated with that. The second item, as you see in the documentation that follows, provides that detailed information, is for an alternative lettering design on the arch itself, which was proposed and approved by the engineers and that Citizens Committee for that memorial arch to improve the mounting and to lessen future maintenance costs. And as you see on page 7, then there is an increase in the cost of that lettering of $26,160. Again, there was no change in cost associated with the extension of the final completion date. So with that, I would recommend the approval of change order number 1 in the amount of $26,160. And I would be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Counselor? there's no questions, I'd look for a motion of support to approve the change order number 1.
I just have one question. What was the difference in the lettering from the first to their recommendation?
I don't know in detail. I think it's included in the package, Jim. I don't, and I think there's some examples there, but I don't know what was originally specified and then what I think on page 9, I assume is that modified lettering, but I do not know what was there proposed originally.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor. And what is the funding source? Is the grant covering this?
I think, Stephanie, I think all of this is being funded through IRRRB.
It's IRRRB and then other funding sources that were generated through the Citizen Board. So it's sitting currently at the Community Foundation, but we'll get those funds.
Okay, thank you.
The city, from what I understand, has no financial involvement other than we are the fiscal agent
That's
for
correct.
receiving and dispersing those funds.
That is correct.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Travis.
Second.
Thank you, April. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the council. And then if you'll just turn back a couple pages to page 5 is the pay application number 1. And as I explained in the request for council action, you see in the middle of that page how the project was bid in terms of the bid items, the quantities, the unit prices, and then the bid unit prices and amounts. And then when you get to the last 4 columns, the third and the fourth columns from the end are the quantities for this period, being that this is pay application number 1. Those 2 columns, as well as the final 2 columns of the total to date, are exactly the same. And as you go down through there, most of it is involved with the removal and replacement of curb and gutter sidewalks, and then the installation of the pure pilings that are in place right now. So we're just really waiting for the arch itself to be completed next spring, along with the plantings and so forth. And as you go down, then you'll see change order number 1 that we just talked about is listed there as well for payment. So we get down to the bottom 2/3 of the page. You see the total to date of work completed being $172,643.50. We withhold the typical 5% of $8,632.18, resulting in a recommended payment on pay application number 1 of $164,011.33. And with that, I would be happy to answer any questions that I can for you. I would recommend payment to TNT Construction Group in that amount. Thank you.
Thank you, Council. Look for a motion and support for that pay application number 1.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Jim.
Support.
Thank you, Jed. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Very.
All right, thank you again. As we work through the process of that $1.2 million legislative money for the new public works garage, the next step is site survey for the as we work towards engineering plans and layout of the whole facility, and where we can where we need our bore soil samples borings for the future buildings. So with that, it's professional services. So generally speaking, doesn't have to be quoted, but it's my first time through something really like this on my own. So, or not on my own, but seeking out this without Jim, I guess. So with that, I did get a couple quotes in SEH. With them being in town for other projects was a little bit cheaper. So with that, I look for your a request your support and moving forward with SEH for $5,600, and I believe it was supposed to be $50. Maybe it's $60 for the site survey for the public works garage.
$56.80 looks like.
80.
I have a question, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
So comparing apples to apples, were they given to do the same thing or more?
Yeah, same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just
Yep.
thank you.
Hey, Council.
Some of that stuff I didn't.
Yeah, it was $56.80. Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, I have the same question as April, because I see SEH excluded this area on their map. Does WEDSEP exclude that area? And
Yeah, so for the bidding process, they both bid the larger, and then I got the email from Stephanie that those other lots are going for sale.
Okay.
So I excluded those from the contract with SEH, but for competitive bidding purposes, they did bid the larger of the two.
Okay, so the two bids are for the equal size.
Yep, SEH was going to do the same work for that lower price. Yep.
Thank you.
Council, I look for a motion and support to approve site survey contract with SEH in the amount of $5,680.
Motion.
Thank you, Jim.
Support.
Thank you, Travis. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jim? Larry, I said Jim. It's all backwards tonight, you know. To you, right? All right, Stephanie.
Good evening. As the council is aware, we've been working on our fee schedule for quite some time. All departments have participated, and we have seen this once at a working session. Devin did compile it all uniforms. So what you're seeing in front of you is the proposed fee schedule for 2025. We have our current rate, and then we also have the proposed on the spreadsheet that is provided. The ones in the blue have changed. If you have any questions for specific changes, just let me know. We have department heads here that can answer those questions. It is best practice for these to come to council. I know you haven't seen them in the past, but moving forward annually, we should be reviewing our fees.
Good. Thank you, Stephanie. There's aren't any questions. I look for a motion and support of the new fees.
Make the motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, April.
Second.
Thank you, Marty. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Next item we have on the agenda is, as you all know, we had the hailstorm this summer. The city's been working through that with our insurance company on what has been, will be covered by insurance and what will not be covered by insurance. We have provided in the packet what that breakdown. On page 36 in your packet, there is a spreadsheet that Devin has provided with the damage of the building that's being covered by the insurance. And then there are portions of the buildings that are not being covered by insurance. We met on this topic and have decided that, excuse me, if it's a roof, sometimes insurance will only cover the portion of the roof that was damaged. We would like to move forward in approval from council to be able to do the whole roofs on those scenarios. So we do have a couple of scenarios where we will be having to take some of our funds to be able to cover, to finish those roofs in full. And those would be under, are in that spreadsheet. So then also within this, we have quotes from Gort's Exterior, laying out every project that we have, what the materials costs are going to be in labor. So our recommendation is to approve the additional spending, which would be out of the general fund, $7,740, out of our campground reserve, $6,609, and then our next agenda item has the cemetery improvement account on it.
Thank you, Stephanie.
This is up to 28,859.87.
Mm-hmm.
What was that?
Column C.
Yes, but for this motion, it would just be for those two to go above. Yeah. To take out of, we would take it out of probably contingency. Yeah.
I don't think there's any reason to not finish the roof
Right.
when you're in there doing it, complete all of it right here in the ripping stuff apart.
Mr. Mayor, so to clarify, we'll be doing the work in column B and column C only, but not column D.
Correct.
Column D is not going to be part of this work.
Correct.
Okay.
Because there were some additional screens. I had made the choice to not replace all of the screens. And then the football field press box, I will be contacting the school to see if they're interested in that. That's a siding. It's not a roof, so it's just dependent. They may or may not want to do that. 'Cause that
Guys, it says
transfer-
do not replace. I just want to make sure that that's not part of the
Yeah. No.
scope. Okay.
Those are the two items that we decided to not move
Who
forward.
owns the press box?
School is here,
Correct.
right?
Currently, the city owns it. So when we had the damage, then we do have an agreement with the school to do a land swap, but we've kept the property until the fixes are done by the insurance company.
Okay.
Or else the swap would have already happened.
Oh, okay.
And
Some day.
Larry's been working on it with me, so.
Yep, just
Actually,
if there was.
Larry's been working on it.
Lights.
That's not part of this discussion.
Well, yeah, not this one.
That's my biggest concern.
It is. Don't let us forget about that either, because I did send an email and I copied you on it, I believe, when I did. So, but yeah, as Stephanie said, the column B, Marty, is the approved by insurance.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, and then the C was what she spoke of, the additional funds. Yep.
Council, I'd look for a motion to accept the hail damage repairs and approve the overture of the general fund expenditure $7,740 and from the campground of $6,690.76.
That one's coming out of the cemetery. That's the next agenda item.
There's a cemetery improvement fund.
Agenda item.
So if I get motion and
I'll make a
support,
motion.
thank you, Jim.
I'll second.
Thank you, Marty. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
So the next item I have on the agenda is for the cemetery improvement funds. As you're aware, we do have to go by resolution to take those funds out because they're restricted. So what we would propose for that building at the cemetery to finish it would be the $14,428.33. That's outlined in the resolution. So we would need approval on that resolution to be able to take those funds out of the restricted funds.
Council, I'll look for a motion to approve resolution 0125-8.
I'll make a motion. And I'll second it.
Thank you, Jed. Thank you, Jim. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, this is the first item under Stephanie, which is purchase of property at 605 3rd Street Southwest.
We had an EDA meeting this morning. EDA has a signed purchase agreement to purchase the property at 605 3rd Street Southwest. We have a signed resolution from the EDA to purchase that building. In our bylaws, we do have to come to council to ratify that purchase. That's what we're requesting today is that the approval of the purchase of 605 3rd Street Southwest. It will all come out of EDA funds and be managed by the EDA.
I have a question.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, for Stephanie.
Yeah.
How much is the purchase price?
$60,000.
Okay. I'm sure you just said that. And then does the EDA know what they would like to do with it?
There'll be ongoing discussions on what exactly. We'll bring in probably Bob Strader, our economic development consultant, to have recommendations from him.
And is that in the business district currently? Or is that a different zoning?
I am not sure what the zoning is on that property.
Because I know it did
General business, I believe it was rezoned as.
Under general?
map.
Okay. Because then there's only so many options you can actually do with that parcel if it's in general or if it's in.
Correct. Yep.
Hmm.
So then we'll stay within that zoning.
Okay.
Was the EDA 100% for this or?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. My council, I'd look for a motion to approve the EDA purchase of property, 605 3rd Street Southwest.
Make a motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Jed.
Support.
Thank you, Travis. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
I just want to say.
Oh, hold on.
Sorry.
Hold on.
Sorry. I just want to say that as soon as that if the EDA could come back and say what their plans are to do with the building, I'm having a hard time agreeing to purchasing it.
I'm a little on the other side. I'd actually like to look at our bylaws and switch it where the EDA doesn't need to come to the council. You know, the EDA's motion is, whole process is to be economic development for the community. You know, so that's what we're kind of working towards. You know, you look at what Hibbing did, and you know, down on Main Street there, their job is to be proactive inside the community, look at what is beneficial, and you know, kind of spur that development.
I get what you're saying, but purchasing property with, is it taxpayers' money?
No.
No?
It's out of the EDA fund. So it's not out of general fund. It's going to be owned by the Chisholm EDA. The city of Chisholm would not own that.
How is the EDA funded?
The funds they were through, like when we give loans and then the loan payback with interest.
I think a lot of it goes back to 1980 when the IRRB gave about $400,000 to CETA and to have revolving loans. And
yeah, a lot of it's a revolving loan fund. That's what it is. Yeah, there was an initial seed.
Well, that's good. And then so the taxpayers know that it isn't coming out of there.
Yeah, it does not come out of general fund. That's right.
Correct. Okay.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye. One more time, I think it's good that
Thank
comes to
you.
the council just for, so we know.
Okay.
Thank you.
Was that all in favor?
Yes.
All right. Okay, motion carries. Next item, soccer update.
Next item, at but previous city council meeting, we'd had an update with the soccer program. There were some changes proposed by the Hibbing Chisholm Soccer Club. I was directed by the city council to reach out to them to have a meeting. I did hear back from them that they would like a list of questions prior to the meeting. I did include that email correspondence with you in the packet. If we choose to outline what questions you would like to ask, we could schedule it within the working session.
So I just want to say that I believe that there's other possibilities that we could be, avenues that we could be going down here. I know registration did just open on Monday or Tuesday, I believe it was.
I'm not sure if they did open it. They did tell me it was going to be opened. I did request that they don't open the Chisholm registration because I needed approval from the council to be able to make those changes that were proposed.
One of the questions that came up from our last council meeting when we were talking about it was, you know, what does Nashwauk go out and play? What does Grand Rapids pay? What's going on? And I believe the response was that it's, you know, private information. You know, it's none of our business what Grand Rapids pays for the youth soccer. And I just we one comment going back, and all of a sudden the price drops a little bit. And again, you know, it doesn't drop by much for, you know, a lot of our conversation was the younger kids, and then all of a sudden we have a new price schedule here.
So a person can't call the Grand Rapids Soccer and say, what's the cost?
So the
It's
question,
got to be public information, doesn't it?
Well, they're a private 501c3, so I don't know if it necessarily, but you could probably, I mean, if you know someone,
If you're interested. My kid's interested in playing. So.
Grand Rapids? Yeah, no, right. Yeah, I got you.
Kids that young. So.
It seems like a lot to go back and forth on. You know, we were trying to sit here and, you know, have something for our children and our youth in town. And Bridget, you're in here. You know, maybe Stephanie can talk, you know, if there's any ideas of just doing our own. You know, why don't we do our own?
Right.
You know, why don't we start our own soccer program? You know, we're teaming up with Hibbing. You know, they doubled the price off the bat before there was even a conversation for it. Communication has not been very well.
What were the prices last year?
Last year the prices were $45, 35, 30, and the city contributed.
Bridget, come up here.
We just approved 45. It's in that fee schedule.
They were 30 last year. This year,
for this year, we approved 45.
You just approved to
now
increase to 45.
Yeah, that was their
proposing. There's a big difference between what we approved and what
So
wants to charge.
Is it going to be a huge problem for you to start this if we decide to start on our own?
It sounds like I have support from Stephanie Scraba and maybe Travis Vaki to get it going. I wouldn't say it'll be a huge lift. No, it will be more work for us, but that's what we're here for.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Well, I think the field availability could become an issue because we only really have the football field in the Vaughan because the school construction is taking that field away. It wasn't a great field, but it was still a small field for the small kids. It worked okay.
We are limited for field space, so playing games I've been in communication with Nashwauk. Her name's Jody Lopez, and she's considering the same scenario as us, considering at this point too. So ideally, we both, are in something together so that we can play games. I won't know, her response yet, but she's working through these same issues with communicating to the families of Nashwauk. I have yet to reach out to the families. We have a coaches meeting tomorrow. So
I'll say I have my side here, my main job. I do have a parcel of property in the industrial park, and there's a lot of space there. And if there was something to alleviate my partner's concern about, what would happen if a kid would fall and break their leg, I would gladly donate that space for use for practices or games or anything like that. It's awesome.
Yeah, I think we looked at that last year because we were limited on space. So this program's growing. 100 kids is the average number. So it's a big program. And I don't recall if the determination was that they needed to play on city property to be covered by city insurance. That may have been what that conclusion was. I can look into
Brian
that.
had to step out.
Yeah.
But,
How many kids per team?
We have 2 teams in each age bracket, and per team, average of 12, 10 to 12 on each team.
So I've thought quite at length regarding this, not just as my role here, but as AD, because regardless of how we decide to do this, it's a feeder program. The goal is to get them to play in high school, and currently we have a co-op with Hibbing, and that's so. The feeder program is to Hibbing Chisholm, boys and girls soccer. Currently, we have 6 girls right now that play varsity and JV, and one boy, I think, that plays junior high over in Hibbing or JV. So there's a lot of if we go on our own, there's effect. If you have 2 teams per division, you're only playing each other. When you play games, you're only playing each other unless you mix up which depending on skill, I think there's some availability to do that. I don't believe that we're space locked. Like I feel like there are the football team has a practice field. It's plenty big enough for a soccer field, or 2 maybe even. There's baseball fields. The outfield is plenty big enough for a soccer field. Like space is not a concern of mine. It's horrible that we're in this situation, I guess, to start with. Because do I think we can do it? Without a doubt. I no problem saying yes between me and you, and we can figure out a schedule and practice times, and it's more what if anything are the kids losing out of by and really it boils down to competition, playing other teams and other schools and other towns. They won't get that, and maybe that's okay. 100 kids is a lot of kids, but that's really, at the end of the day, that's the decision you're making, is really whether they're going to play against the Hibbing teams and the Rapids teams and the Nashwauk teams or not. So I either way we go, I think we're fine. I know there's some people that may be opposed to that, and to join Hibbing, and I think there's a lot of people that would say, yeah, you should do your own. But again, if we do our own, we're just we're basically having 2 teams in each age bracket playing each other when you come to games, unless you mix it up, which again, mixing it up isn't a bad thing. I think that you probably would do that some sort of rotationally anyway. But yeah, We do have a high school program, so I want this to be successful. I will do whatever I can to help bridge it with space, with equipment, all that stuff, because I want to continue that feeder program that we have. And, I would love nothing more than to have Chisholm to have a soccer team for the first time in history. Maybe that will happen. I don't know. But yeah, so those are kind of my thoughts in both here and also as AD.
Thank you, Travis.
And these prices are quite a jump. So, say we vote to go with this. Does the city of Chisholm still able and willing to provide funding for the program? So, some families don't have all this in town, and like every other city, this is costly to some people.
It's very costly. Well, one of the things that we talked about with the hitting is there's no control on scheduling either, or the teams, so the rostering. So it's kind of hard for some people when you're carpooling and you're worrying about where your kids are going and what team they're on. So I mean, they were really kind of limiting our input and it's just a big wrench was thrown in this for no reason at all.
I spoke to a few people about this, and they won't have any Chisholm people on the board, is what I heard.
They currently
Is that the truth?
Currently don't.
Currently don't.
Yeah.
And they met in October where they set these changes, and we didn't find out about it until the end of December.
Mr. Mayor, just the fact all this thing all came out, I mean, we have to submit questions for them to answer formally. That's asinine. I mean, we're asking simple questions, we're asking for a meeting, we're asking to have a seat at the table, is all we're simply asking. And this is our rebuttal from them. I don't agree with it.
I would like to direct our staff to search out what it would look like for us to do our own, and then reach out to Nashua, Keewatin, maybe even Grand Rapids, any others from Cherry or any other areas, Buell or wherever obviously programs going on over on the east side, but I think we can grow it, and there might be other smaller communities out there that are feeling that $80 for your kid to play soccer is a little too much.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would continue the outreach even further. Go to MIB, go to Virginia, go to ask any of those teams in those communities. I know they have a YMCA summer league in Mount Iron, Buell, or Mount Iron, Virginia, but maybe some of them would be interested in the spring recreational league, and talk to the coaches and get their feedback and get coaches meetings, see what they're saying. And I think Nashua, Keewatin, but I'd even reach further to the east and see because I kind of think that YMCA thing in Mount Iron, Virginia I think that's summer, where this is spring, and maybe there's interest there as well. I don't know. And as far as varsity, and I get the Chisholm participation in getting varsity is minuscule. I was a coach for 6 years, and after 6th grade, after Vic Power, all the kids, Chisholm kids, pretty much drop out at that point. And then a lot of them would like to keep playing, and they've told me they'd like to keep playing, but they don't want to all of a sudden just have to go to Hibbing and be on the Hibbing traveling team. So even back then, when I was coaching, I thought it would be nice if Chisholm had a JV and a varsity team, so we could keep developing our players as well, and see which kids want to keep going and want to pursue it in JV and varsity.
Well, and I guess with my AD hat on, if we decide to go on our own, I guess that is going to be my goal. If I'm going to put the time in on the school side of things, I guess my goal would be to, at some point, hope to have at least a Chisholm JV.
There's a beautiful field in Buell and a beautiful field in Mount Iron.
Yeah,
really
and maybe we'll have space. When the school construction is done and the elementary building is knocked down, there will be 60 yards of green space right there.
Yeah, I know.
So there's opportunity. There's no doubt about that. There's opportunity, and if we decide to go on our own for a year and try it out, and then in the meantime, I agree with Jed. I don't want to punish a kid, first of all, for the Hibbing Chisholm adult board not being willing to work with us, but at the same time, maybe it's the opportunity to if we have 100 kids, like I have a hard time believing there's not 6 or 8 of them that each year or in each level that would want to continue, you know. And I will plug the girls. We have 6 girls on the varsity and JV, which is about, you know, a good portion of the kids who play soccer between the two towns. So I will give them that plug. But yeah, it's going to have to be a feeder program either way. If we go on our own, I think as an AD, I would love to make that push, you know, to Chisholm kids to.
Soccer's becoming more popular around here for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So do you want to make a motion to direct Bridget to, or do we even need a motion to direct our staff to come back with a plan, or what would you like to see?
Yeah, that's fine. And then add it to that working session that you're going to schedule, I think. So then we can come back with what we found at that time.
All right. Everyone all right with that? Okay.
So
we're going to table this?
We're going to add it to our working session.
Okay.
That we have coming up at the end. We'll direct our staff in the meantime to, I don't think we need a motion to direct our staff to check out different avenues. So,
do you think, Bridget, I guess just one final question, if we add this to our working session, which is on,
it's not scheduled
not
yet.
scheduled,
it's not
yet.
scheduled yet, but do you think that they're gonna, because we're not registering, people aren't registering, do you think, are they gonna say you're out if we don't give a yes or no answer to them tonight?
Oh,
I mean, if we hold people for registering for another 2 weeks.
Well, registration's open for till like February,
I
isn't it?
think that what will happen is they won't get the early bird registration, is what I've been told.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. Well, that's
Yeah.
not the other.
Yeah, we have.
And
a
I'm sure
couple
we can
months
find a
of-
way, since we're the ones that are holding it up. Maybe there's a way that through our scholarship funds we can help alleviate some of that pain.
And Hibbing Chisholm Soccer Club does offer scholarships too, but I wouldn't call it significant. I think it's $22 per family, but there are discounts family. So if it's multiple children in the program, there's a discount there too. They did ask that if families needed assistance above and beyond what they offer, but wanted to play, that's where Chisholm could be helpful.
Mr. Mayor, I just have a question for the attorney. So the Hibbing Chisholm Soccer Club is a nonprofit. Is it a private nonprofit?
Yeah, and it's an interesting question because it's called the Hibbing Chisholm Soccer Club.
I'm just wondering.
You think they'd want to include Chisholm a little bit more. Are they violating any rules by what they're doing? Not necessarily. May it violate some of their mission? It may. Could it affect their nonprofit status if people who qualify are essentially being treated differently or being excluded from the program practically? It may, but I can't say that anything that they're doing is per se illegal.
I have another question for you.
Okay.
On that note.
Sure.
So if Bridget or Stephanie had asked for the financials and they're withholding those, how come they can't publicly disclose them? Because they're supposed to if they're nonprofit.
So there's nothing that says that they can't disclose them. I think they could share the information with us if they wanted to. There's nothing that would prevent them from sharing information, especially if we're one of the primary participants in the group and we're named in the name of the club.
Yeah. The first name.
First
name.
name.
Sleets. No, it's the first one. So I would really hope that the avenue goes towards us creating our own. You know, I think everything this council has done, in every negotiation we've had, we operate in good faith. Mm-hmm. And this does not seem correct. This doesn't seem right. It doesn't have a good feeling.
Team
doesn't feel
that
right.
works here and up here. So I appreciate you guys.
Okay, we will add that to our working session when we get there. Yeah, moving on. Next up is the ratifying council boards and commissions. Council, I set forth my plan in front of you here. run through it here with you. Everything happens for a reason in here. Method to my madness. Economic Development Authority. This is an early morning, middle of the week meeting that a lot of people can't really meet or make. So I'm going to leave myself and Councilor Hollova on that board. The Board of Appeals. I believe April and Marty did it last time, so I will do that with Marty this time. The Charitable Gambling, we'll leave that with Councilor Bakke. The Housing and Redevelopment Authority, I will take over that from Cheyenne. The Library Board, Councilor Fulton should remain there because of your profession. Planning and Zoning, I will stay on that one. Police Commission, Councilor Bakke will stay on that one. And replacement of Councilor Mikala Raha. Public Utilities Commission, Councilor Hollova will stay on that one because of, he's been on there for a long time, and there's a lot of in and outs, a lot of moving pieces and parts, and especially with them being on the Central Iron Range Sanitary Sewer District. The Recreation Board, I did make a change on this one. I'd like Councilor Bakke on that due to his work at the school and the AD, and especially with the possibility of a new soccer program coming to town. I definitely would utilize his skills there. Volunteer Fire Department, I will move Councilor Barda onto that in replacement of me, so I can step back. I know the Fire Department would love to have you back. Campground Committee would stay as Councilor Halverson and Councilor Fulton because that's going to coincide with the next one, which would be the Redhead Committee, and leave Councilor Halverson on that one, being as the campground and the Redhead are almost intertwined. And then going down to the council reps, to their committees, I would, Councilor Fulton onto the Yellow Ribbon, Councilor Bakke to stay on the Chamber of Commerce, Councilor Fulton, the Youth Center, Councilor Fulton on the Community Education, Councilor Bakke, the Iron Range Youth in Action, Councilor Barda to Museum of Mining, myself onto the Safety Committee, and myself onto the Precious Pause Committee. I'd look for a motion to approve Resolution 0125-9 with those appointments. Thank you, Jim.
Second.
Thank you, Jed. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on. 2 copies here. Resolution 0125-10, no brainer in my opinion. I would love to have you. Thank you for being here. Reappoint the city administrator. I'll look for a motion for 0125-10.
Motion.
Thank you, Jim.
Second.
Thank you, Jed. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, reappointment of the building zoning safety official, resolution 0125-11. Randy, thank you. We appreciate you.
Motion.
Thank you, Jim.
Support.
Thank you, Travis. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'd like to approve resolution 0125-12, reappoint Trenti Law Firm.
Motion.
Thank you, April. Thank you, Jim. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Resolution 0125-13, reappoint interim fire chief Jason Worley.
Support or motion.
Thank you, Jim.
Second.
Thank you, Marty. Any further discussion?
One question.
Yes.
Doesn't matter. Do we have a plan for a new fire chief?
Yes, I've been working with Ravina. I just want her to review some of the documents for the fire department and then just make sure everything is where we're at, and then we'll move forward with that. So that's where we're at right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask why the interim tag, but now I know. Okay. Thank you.
I think like everything else, we're gonna have to make sure that we have a proper hiring process in place and make sure we follow it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, now moving on to the appointments. Where are we here? So appointment to the EDA, 1 seat for 6 years. We have 1 application. So I will look for a motion to reappoint Shannon Kishel Roach.
Motion.
Thank you, April.
Support.
Thank you, Travis. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Appointment to the Chisholm Parks Trails Rec Advisory Board. We had 2 seats open for two seats for 2-year terms. We have 2 applicants. So I look for a motion to appoint Gregory Johnson to the Parks Trails Rec Advisory Board.
Motion.
Thank you, Jim.
Support.
Thank you, Travis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'd look for a motion to appoint Brandon Fiedler, reappoint Brandon Fiedler to the Parks Trails Rec Advisory Board.
Make the motion.
Thank you, April.
Support.
Thank you, Jim. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I believe one of those people even has a history as a soccer coach. An appointment to the library board. 3 seats open, 1 for a 2-year term, 2 for a 3-year term. We had, is that just one applicant that we had?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. Okay, so I'd look for a motion to appoint Brittany Hagston for a 3-year term.
Make that motion.
Thank you, April.
Support.
Thank you, Jim. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up, the appointment to the Planning Commission. We had 1 seat open for a 3-year term, 1 applicant. I would look for a motion to appoint reappoint Ryan Baumgart.
Motion.
Thank you, Jim.
Second.
Thank you, Marty. All those. I think was Marty there too.
Motion.
I heard this one out of my left ear this time.
It was a tie. I didn't hear you.
I'm that much closer.
Yeah, right. We got the last one. So thank you, Marty. Marty was the second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Point. Opposed? Motion carries. Oh, wow. Getting tongue tied here. Public Utility Commission, 2 seats open for 2-year terms. 2 applicants, so I'd look for a motion to approve Bruce Maddock.
Motion.
Thank you, Jed.
Support.
Thank you, Jim. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'd look for a motion to reappoint Larry Pervenanzi.
Motion.
Thank you, April.
Support.
Thank you, Travis. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Appointment to the Police Commission. 1 seat open for a 3-year term. We had 2 applicants. I would look for a motion to reappoint Stephanie Holloway.
Motion.
Thank you, April.
Support.
Thank you, Jim. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain, Counselor? Does he have to? It's not financial.
I think you still
You know, right?
I don't know about that.
Motion carries. Motion carries. Appointment to the Housing and Redevelopment Authority, 1 seat open for a 5-year term, 1 applicant. I look for a motion to appoint Cesar Ortega to the HRA.
Motion.
Thank you, April. Second. Thank you, Jim. Any further discussion?
No, Jim wasn't part of that.
Oh, Marty? You guys sound a lot alike. I should have rethought this. Thank you, Marty. Marty, yep. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Last on the list here is to schedule a working session. So this working session, I would like to, I have a pretty busy month of January, and I think that this needs to happen in January. I'm not sure. You know, we do have a council meeting on the 22nd. I'm not sure if we want to do it after that. I love the thought of just giving up that one Wednesday, but if that does not work or we need more time, I'm fine with another date. I would look for the 23rd or possibly the 29th, which is the following Wednesday. I'm not sure if those 2 dates work for everybody else or anybody
I would
else.
prefer to keep it the same night of the council meeting. It'd be easier.
22nd works for me.
After the council meeting? No, I guess that's when.
After?
After?
Absolutely.
Travis? Okay, so let's look at setting it at for 6:30 January 22nd.
Do you want to make it
2025?
after 6:30?
That's that way. If it goes, we can start it later. We just can't start it early. So start at 6 and really put a fire under us. So on this working session, I would like to have the demo structure at 34. I think we're missing some numbers there. What? 34th Street Northwest? 34th Street. Okay. So demolition of structure at 34th Street Northwest. Mill and overlay projects.
Yeah, that's not
Fourth
the right
Street,
address. Hold on.
Okay, we'll come back to
We'll
that
come
one.
back to
We'll
that
come
one.
back to that one.
It's called demo structure.
34th
It's not right.
Street.
Street.
But that's not right. They're gonna get us the right one. So the cannabis, would like to throw cannabis back on the working session. You know, it kind of went to the wayside. Definitely think we have to talk about that. Cannabis.
I thought I said canvas.
Cannabis, no cannabis. You know, we're getting closer and closer. So should write it down. Just write it down. Just write it down for me, please. So on this working session will be cannabis. So obviously, soccer will be on this working session. Emergency services, boards and commissions, and demolition.
I can't write this that fast. Did you say cannabis?
Cannabis. Marijuana. We're gonna talk about marijuana.
Or don't we have a committee?
We do have a committee. We're gonna put it back on a working session to bring it back and provide some direction.
Perfect.
You and Marty, I think, were on that committee, or was you, Marty, and Jed? You and Jed?
I think we had one meeting.
Right. So now it's time to get back on it. You know, with January 1st rolling through, there's going to be new the laws and regulations are coming out, right?
March.
So March. So cannabis, soccer,
EMS.
and demolition of 31st Street Northwest. First Street.
Our favorite building.
So what was it? EMS? EMS boards and commissions.
Oh, okay. Boards and commissions. EMS boards. Okay.
That's gonna be a long working session.
Maybe.
He's bringing pizza.
Yeah.
So
Pizza
there's
party.
5 items.
We gotta celebrate.
1, 2, 5. Yes.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I think we'll lay out the ones that are take priority, and then the stuff that's more discussion, we will probably just put those on the back end. So with those 5 items, I'd look for a motion to schedule a working session for January 22nd, 6:30 p.m. to discuss demolition of 31st Street Northwest, mill and overlay, cannabis, soccer, emergency services, boards, and commissions.
Make a motion.
Thank you, Jed. Thank you, April. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Miscellaneous. Anybody have anything?
That copy machine, man. Gotta get that fixed. I'm just kidding. I'm joking.
Just
He already
to the
addressed it.
I would look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion. Second.
Thank you, Travis. Thank you, Jed.